Canada faces its most critical defense decision in decades. With Trump's tariffs bleeding Canadian jobs and threatening economic sovereignty, Sweden just threw Ottawa a lifeline: 72 advanced fighter jets, 12,000 jobs, and a chance to break free from American control. But is Canada willing to take it? Donald Trump's tariff war has turned Canada's economy into a battlefield. Manufacturing sectors have hemorrhaged over 54,000 jobs between January and May 2025. Steel mills in Sault Ste. Marie are issuing layoff notices to 1,000 workers. Auto factories in Windsor and Brampton are going dark. The unemployment rate has climbed to 7%, the highest since 2016, excluding pandemic years. Trump's 25% tariffs on steel, aluminum, and automobiles slammed Canadian supply chains. Stellantis canceled its Jeep Compass electric vehicle production in Brampton, idling 3,000 workers. The economic pain is real and spreading. Against this backdrop sits Canada's fighter jet dilemma. In 2023, Prime Minister Mark Carney's government committed to purchasing 88 F-35 Lightning II stealth fighters from Lockheed Martin for 19 billion Canadian dollars. Only 16 F-35s have been paid for. The remaining 72 aircraft are now under review as costs balloon to $27.7 billion. With Trump weaponizing trade relationships, Carney faces mounting pressure to reduce Canada's dependency on American defense contractors. Enter Sweden's game-changing offer. Saab isn't just proposing to sell fighter jets, they're offering to rebuild Canada's aerospace industry. The package: 72 Gripen E fighters plus 6 GlobalEye surveillance aircraft. The real knockout punch? 12,600 jobs spread across Canadian soil. The breakdown is precise and tempting. 9,000 jobs would come from Gripen production, with another 3,600 from building the entire GlobalEye aircraft in Canada, using Bombardier's business jet platform as the base. Saab CEO Mikael Johansson visited Canada in November alongside Sweden's King Carl XVI and Queen Sylvia, personally pitching the vision to Bombardier executives in Montreal. The message was clear: Canada wouldn't just be buying aircraft, they'd be building them. The economics get even more compelling. Ukraine has expressed interest in purchasing between 100 and 150 Gripens as part of its long-term defense modernization. Saab is proposing Canada as a third production site, after Sweden and Brazil, to manufacture between 150 and 200 total aircraft. Canada would become an export hub, building fighters for domestic use and international sales, complete technology transfer included, manufacturing facilities in Ontario and Quebec. For Industry Minister Melanie Joly, desperately seeking to offset job losses in tariff-battered auto, steel, aluminum, and lumber sectors that collectively employ 200,000 workers, Saab's proposal looks like political gold. On paper, this shouldn't even be a contest. The F-35 Lightning II represents the pinnacle of fifth-generation fighter technology, stealth capability, advanced sensor fusion that gives pilots a god's-eye view of the battle space, internal weapons bays to maintain radar invisibility, network-centric warfare capabilities that allow seamless integration with American and NATO forces in NORAD and beyond. A leaked 2021 Royal Canadian Air Force evaluation scored the F-35 at 95% across capability, delivery, technical criteria, sustainability, upgradability, and mission performance. The Gripen E, 33%. The Gripen is a capable fourth-generation plus fighter, but it's fundamentally different from the F-35. Originally designed as a short-range point defense interceptor for Sweden's unique defense needs, the Gripen excels at dispersed operations, can operate from highways and short runways, and was specifically engineered for harsh Nordic climates. Its lower operating costs and simpler maintenance requirements make it attractive for smaller air forces. Sweden recently announced integration of artificial intelligence through Project Beyond, adding a Centaur AI agent to enhance pilot capabilities. But here's the brutal truth: the Gripen lacks stealth. In an era where Russia and China are fielding advanced air defense systems and fifth-generation fighters, that's not a minor shortcoming. Major General Chris McKenna of the RCAF stressed Canada faces fifth-generation threats and needs overmatch, not compromise. For Arctic sovereignty missions and NORAD integration alongside the United States, that technological gap becomes a strategic liability that no amount of AI can fully compensate for. Canada's military leadership is sounding the alarm. Former RCAF commanders, including Tom Lawson and other defense chiefs, sent a private letter to Prime Minister Carney urging him to proceed with the full F-35 order. Their reasoning is simple and devastating. Operating two different fighter types simultaneously would create a logistics and operational nightmare. Think about the complexity. Two completely separate supply chains for parts and maintenance. Two distinct training pipelines for pilots and ground crews during an existing pilot shortage. Double the maintenance infrastructure. Different weapon systems. Different software update schedules. A Defense Ministry review concluded there is no military sense in splitting the fleet between F-35s and Gripens. Industry Minister Joly fires back with a counter-argument. All G7 countries operate mixed fleets. She's technically correct. The RCAF currently operates 20 different aircraft types. But mixing frontline fighters is categorically different from operating transport planes, helicopters, and surveillance aircraft alongside fighters. The United States operates F-15S, F-16S, F-22S, and F-35S, but those were acquired over decades as technology evolved, not purchased simultaneously as competing platforms. The operational headaches multiply exponentially. Imagine deploying a squadron for Arctic patrol. Which fighters do you send? If you send F-35s, your Gripen pilots lose currency. If you send Gripens, you're deploying less capable aircraft to face potential Russian threats. Integration with American forces through NORAD becomes complicated when half your fleet can't plug into fifth-generation sensor networks. This isn't about aircraft anymore. It's about national identity, economic sovereignty, and Canada's place in the North American defense architecture. The political calculation is brutal. If Canada cancels the remaining 72 F-35s, Trump's reaction could be explosive. The United States has controlled Canadian fighter procurement since the Cold War. Breaking that pattern would be unprecedented. U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra publicly stated he was irritated by Canadian waffling on the F-35 decision. Spain and Portugal already canceled their F-35 orders after Trump imposed tariffs on their countries. Switzerland downgraded its order from 36 aircraft when costs exceeded initial estimates. Canada wouldn't be alone in pushing back against American defense contractors, but they'd be the most strategically significant NATO partner to do so. Public opinion is fractured. Recent ECOS polling shows 35% of Canadians support a mixed fleet approach, while only 13% support F-35s exclusively. Notably, 49% of Quebecers favor a Gripen-only fleet, making this a regional political powder keg. Sweden's King Carl XVI conducted a state visit specifically to promote the strategic partnership. Minister Joly is meeting with Lockheed Martin executives, demanding greater economic benefits and Canadian production to sweeten the F-35 deal. Canada's defense spending is increasing by $82 billion over 5 years, giving Ottawa leverage. The timeline remains uncertain, though Saab claims they could deliver Gripens within 3 years versus longer waits for F-35s. Canada stands at a crossroads between economic independence and military integration. This decision will define Canadian defense policy for 40 years. Choose American stealth and alliance integration, or Swedish jobs and economic sovereignty. Either way, the days of easy choices are over for Canada. Which fighter would you choose for Canada? Hit like if you support Canadian aerospace jobs. Subscribe for more military analysis. Comment below whether Canada should prioritize independence or alliance strength.